So, had to pull over so I could get my phone in the holder and turn it on record. I don't like fiddling with it when I'm driving. It's just too dangerous. I just want to let y'all know that I have been praying for all of you down in the northern part of Florida and Georgia, and now in South Carolina for this storm. The Elsa, is that the name of it? Anyway, I want y'all to know that I have been thinking about you and praying for you, and I do know what you're going through because I have been through it many a time, living in Mississippi, down near the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and also the times that I lived in New Orleans and the Bay of St. Louis there in Mississippi, and I know what it is to go through hurricanes and the tornadoes that are prevalent whenever a hurricane does hit. They just a lot of tornadoes are evident in that type of storm, and actually I think the tornadoes is what causes more property damage than the actual hurricane. But I have a story to tell you. When John and I lived in Bay St. Louis, we had not been married too long. Jason was about 2 years old, so this happened in about 1975. I don't even know what hurricane it was that was predicted to hit, but we lived in an area called Cedar Point, and it was right on the Bay of St. Louis there. Of course, the hurricane was predicted to hit there, and we were in a very low-lying area right on the water. And John and I were terrified that the house was going to get hit and we're going to lose all of our furniture. We had just started buying our own furniture. We had moved from a furnished house there on de Montlezon Avenue in Bay St. Louis that was owned by a little French woman and her husband. Her name was Mrs. Tutory. She was so adorable, y'all. She was real short and French speaking, and she had long gray hair and she kept it in a braid, but she would wrap it around her head. And I remember she told me one time, always do your hair and makeup every day because you never know what the day's going to bring. But she owned a lot of property there on de Montlezon Avenue and State Street, and John and I ended up renting 2 different houses from her. We rented a small house, and Jason was probably just about a year old, and then she had a bigger house that became available, and then we moved into it, and it was the one on de Montlezon. And we were right across the street from a daycare called Little People's School. So I had gotten a job at what's the name of the newspaper? It wasn't the Brazosport Facts, that was in Texas. Oh, I'll have to think of it and insert it. Anyway, it was a weekly newspaper, and I worked on Wednesdays and Thursdays. No, I worked on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It was published on Wednesdays. And a lot of times on Wednesday, I had to stay late because when you work for a newspaper, you got to stay until you meet the deadline and the paper goes to the press. But I was a typesetter at that newspaper. I did a little proofreading, but mostly I did the typesetting. And if y'all don't know what typesetting is, it's a very complicated process. You have to type on an old typesetter, and it would perforate this tape, the words, and then you would have to run that tape through a machine, and then go into the dark room and process it. And then some way or another, it would be printed from that. Very complicated. Nothing like a word processor is today. But anyway, I needed, Jason was just about a year and a half old, so I needed a daycare for him. So I met the people across the street, the owners of the Little People's School, and it was Doug and Dale. They started keeping Jason for me on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And Dale and I are still very good friends today. And I did make a video of her. She still lives down on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And I will attach the link to that video in the description box. But every time we would move, Dale and Doug would come over and help us load up everything and move. But we really didn't start buying furniture until we moved to that house out there on Cedar Point. We went to Sears and got a charging can and bought us a nice, beautiful bedroom set with a queen-size bed, and bought us a nice little dining room set. And we couldn't afford to buy the living room furniture, so Mother and Daddy had bought new recliners and a new sofa, so they gave me and John their old Naugahyde sofa and recliner chair. I believe the recliner, I don't remember if the recliner was green or orange, but the sofa was green. So anyway, when that hurricane was going to hit, John and I didn't want to lose our furniture. You know, we had such meager possessions to begin with. So the house had these wooden beams at the ceiling. So John got some rope, and he tied the rope around the old Naugahyde sofa, and he put some heavy-duty hooks up in those wooden beams, and he pulled the rope around those hooks, and then he pulled the furniture up. And we had that old green Naugahyde sofa dangling from the roof, from the rafters, and that old orange, I believe the recliner was orange. That old orange recliner dangling from the rafters. And I don't remember what he did to the dining room table. He probably set it up on cinder blocks or something. So we would always do what we could to try to protect our property, and then we would leave and go to Lumberton and stay with Mom and Daddy until the hurricane passed. And we would always be in worse shape by leaving. If we had just stayed put, we would have been much safer and much better off, because by the time we did pack everything and hoist the furniture up and all, then the hurricane would be right over us practically, and we would be driving up to Mississippi in the middle of the storm with all the downpour and everything. We would have been much better off to have just stayed put. But anyway, I am praying for all of y'all, and I just want you to know that I hope you're safe and that you don't suffer any type of damage whatsoever. So if you're just passing through, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. Just hit that red subscribe button back there, down there, and turn on the notification bell. And y'all just keep on coming back. Goodbye, guys.